All right, here's a quick unboxing and first thoughts of the Yamaha HS7 series. Now, I currently have I used to have an 8-inch pair of M audios that were actually pretty bass heavy, and the representation was very nice, or it was very nice to listen to, but for actually mixing and mastering, I would suggest if anybody doesn't have a really high quality speaker, to go ahead and get something that's a little smaller, like a 5-inch speaker. So as I got back into music, I ended up buying a pair of M audios. They were BX5As. They cost about $300 a pair. Surprisingly, they sound pretty pleasant to the ears for such a small woofer, and they actually have a nice bass response, but the problem with that is that it's not very accurate, and it can mask over mistakes and make things all sound pretty decent, to be honest. So what these reference monitors are more catered to reminds me of my Sennheisers. The headphones, actually, they're very flat, and they're not actually hyped too much on the highs or the low end or the mid range. They're pretty flat to give you a accurate representation of what you're mixing or mastering or sending out before it's actually being played on a system that more than likely has those boosts in the mid range or higher or lower ends. So I would suggest, if you're not in a treated room environment, HS7, I think it's still only a 6-inch woofer or so. Stepping up to like the 8-inch may be overkill. I mean, because of the fact that I could have got the eight versions for only $100 more. It's not like I couldn't afford it financially. So for me, knowing that I could have got a better monitor in general and I didn't get it, that kind of bothers me. But to be realistic with my situation, like I said, I'm just getting back into it. This is more in a personal space at the moment for only audio stuff that I do. And, you know, in this environment, for me to have something like an 8 will be overkill. And also, it wouldn't be a good representation based on the sound structure or the room structure. It wouldn't be a very accurate representation. I definitely wouldn't add a subwoofer in small, untreated rooms as well. A HS7 is a good mid-range size to give you a little bit of low end without needing a subwoofer, but also getting an accurate detail in the actual recording. Now, you can get an HS5, but I hear that they're pretty thin and they're lacking the low end completely. And to me, that's not enough for me to want to keep those. So I actually purchased this from Sweetwater Sound. If you go to their website, you'll notice that they do sell these HS series Yamahas, but they only sell them in black with the white cone. Now, me, I don't know. I just wanted to try something different. And the whites are a little trendy, but I had them special ordered. And I believe I paid about $600 for the pair. And then you pay $700 for the bigger versions and so forth. So, I mean, if you buy something from a place like Sweetwater and it is a special order, just keep in mind that it is no returns. It's pretty much an as-is sale in a sense, unless there's some kind of warranty issue, because they had to order directly from Yamaha and then send it, you know, ship it back to you directly from them. So I guess it costs more money and whatever else is the issue. So make sure that these are what you want. I'm using mine on a white desk, so I thought it would look nice. To be honest, sometimes I feel like I wish I had a little bit more black or something now, but, you know, I can't exchange them at this point, so I'm just going to stick with the white, because to be honest, if I had the black, I would probably think they look dry or whatever the case is, so I don't know. I'm just sticking with the whites as I have them now. Nicely wrapped, of course. Now, I hear a lot of people say the build quality is excellent. I don't really notice a difference from any monitor I've ever had, because I've never had any super cheap monitors. Now the white, I did think that the white was like painted, like a painted cabinet or whatnot, but if you look closely on the bottom of the actual speaker case, it does look like some type of glued layer wrap, I guess, if you want to call it that, across the entire speaker. So that's kind of, you know, for everybody to tell me that build quality is excellent, that kind of threw me off a little bit. But, you know, it still has very nice texture. As you see, I'm touching it here. It's a nice speaker in general. I'm not trying to be too picky about it. It's not like these are $5,000 reference monitors or something like that. But just alone looking at them, they're very nice. Since I've actually recorded this, I have used these now, and, you know, they're pretty decent. There's nothing crazy hyped up about it. I'm not A-Bing them compared to the M audios. I was going to keep them to kind of have a different reference, but at this point, I don't really have room even on this small desk anyway, so I'm just going to end up getting rid of those. I think these sound, you know, pretty good. To be honest, you know, even if you use a cheaper speaker, you can actually work around that. And the reason why I say that is, Once you start understanding the limitations of any of your equipment that you have, you kind of can start making adjustments based on those limitations. So if you have a speaker that's bass heavy and you realize that all your mixes are bass heavy, then you'll actually know after a while what is too much bass when you're listening to them, how it's going to translate to the final mix when you play it in a different environment. And the opposite goes for if it's not enough bass, how much you have to boost it. It could sound like overkill when you're mixing, but you'll get used to those adjustments. Now on the back you have your inputs, you have the TRS tip, and you also have like a microphone XLR type cable. You have the levels, and you also have room adjustments, so you can adjust like the highs and the lows, and room acoustics and stuff. I usually try to stay away from that because I don't really know the science of that and how that actually works. I definitely recommend it. You see a lot of people on the internet using these, especially because the white. I don't know if that's because of the trend or what, but if you read any reviews on these speakers, some people will say that it's a little too transparent and it sounds harsh. Now, I haven't noticed the harshness. The harshness could be the sound card that you're using, because I use a Symphony by Apogee, a Mark II, and it's definitely not harsh, and nothing that I played with it is harsh because it was never mixed harsh in the first place. So maybe they're getting an accurate representation of what their mix really was, and maybe they're noticing how harsh the mix really is because of these speakers are just more accurate and they don't mask over those things like I was telling you earlier. Now these speaker stands I have here, I don't have the typical foam ones that people use. I can't remember the brand, but these particular are the audio. Actually, I don't even remember these. You have to look at one of my videos, but they're made out of rubber silicone. It's from a good company, and these are actually better suited probably for the 5-inch ones, but they fit on here just fine. And this is what I use to angle them more towards your ears and to stop some of the vibration on the desk, which it does a good job. So if this was helpful at all, please hit like and subscribe, or visit www.howtoandreviews.com. Till next time.